second crack at North Carolina. What would you like to see change? Obviously, the final score. What would you like to see change from the way you played in the first game to this
Well,
game?
I mean, we got to do a way better job defending that, and I thought Baycock really hurt us in both ways. Obviously he's such a tough matchup for our guys and most of the guys that play against him, but rebounding and he was able to score the basketball, and you can't let him beat you in so many ways. Obviously his ability to score with his back to the basketball, he's gotten a lot better. I think, obviously one of the things is we got to do a better job of keeping him off the offensive glass. His numbers were like playing video game. He was so good. And then we have to continue to do a great job getting back in transition. I think in round one, we only gave up 6 transition baskets, which is pretty good when you play against a Carolina team because of the way they run. But we got to stay solid. I think we got to, our defense has to be really good.
How far do you think your team has come, or how different do you think your team is from that first game to now?
Well, I mean, I think we've grown. And when you look at it, we've grown in so many areas. We've had so many obstacles, and, I think our guards have gotten better understanding the rest of our team. Early in the season, they were better scorers, but now I think they realize how to get everybody the ball to be effective to help us. I think we have grown defensively. We've shown some games where we can be really solid and, lock down and defend. And so I think more than anything, we've matured and we've been able to come together as a team more than we have, a few weeks ago.
One guy you didn't have in the first game was Jack Clark, and you will have him this time. Just how much should that help you think, in attacking them?
Yeah, he gives us, Chip, another guy who can score the basketball. Greg and Ernest have done a tremendous job, but they're not scorers. They're more defensive guys. And so when you add a guy like Jack to your lineup and you put him in the game, you have to guard him because of his ability to stretch your defense out and be able to make shots behind the three-point line.
Did he come out of that game physically okay the other day? Because he played more minutes than he played.
Yeah, too many, Chip. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a. I wanted to play him about 20 minutes in that game, but of course when you're playing against Syracuse zone, you need as many shooters as you can have on the floor, but I think he's fine right now.
What did you see from the first game in terms of what you can do to slow down R.J. Davis?
When R.J. Davis is playing well, one of the things we can't give him, I think he was 12 for 12 on the free throw line. We got to do a better job of not putting him on the line because obviously he didn't miss. But he's tough. The only way to stop a guy like him who can really score the basketball is to try to limit his touches. And I think we got to do a better job of, limiting his touches, not giving him easy shots. He's a tough matchup because he's got the 15, 18-foot pull-up, then he can shoot threes, and then he can also finish at the rim. And then, as we talked about, you don't want to foul him because you can almost count those.
You had talked also after the first game about if you double Baycott, then it opens up shooters, but then obviously if Baycott's one-on-one, like it's a pick your poison type of deal. Do you still see yourself wanting to not double Baycott?
Well, it's one of those things. It's like I think a lot of teams go in our game trying to figure out do you double DJ Burns and give the other guy a shot. Same thing with Baycock. He's become, over his career, he's become a really good passer. And so I think you have to pick and choose whether you decide if you're going to double him that night. I think you have to go into every game prepared to maybe possibly throw some doubles at him and every now and then. But he's such a, because he's gotten doubled this year, he's become a really good passer out of that. And so we got to figure that out, and I don't know exactly what we're going to do yet.
Looking at the tape, how do you feel like the team played in the Syracuse game overall?
Look, we didn't make shots, which Syracuse zone has a lot to do with everybody that they play that don't make shots. But I thought we put ourselves in position on the road to have an opportunity to win. We knew it was going to be a tough game. You look at every game that they played at home, meaning Syracuse, it came down to the wire. And I even watched the Carolina game, and obviously, when they got the charge at the end, that kind of separated the game. But I didn't think we shot the ball well, which a lot of that has to do with them. But I did think we played well enough to be able to win the game at the end.
You see a lot of high school players that are big men who want to be outside shooters now. How refreshing is it that this is a real old school low post matchup on Sunday?
Oh, it's a major league. This is a major league low post game. Hubert and I are both probably known more as guards coaches or perimeter guys, man. But we got two guys that make us look like we know what we're doing in the post. Those guys are really good. I mean, they're two of the most talented guys, not only in our league, in the country, as far as playing with their back to the basket. You don't see that anymore.
Do you pay attention to the net rankings and Ken Palm and all this about where you stand, and you keep an eye on that?
Only when somebody tells me. So, well, where are we at today, Chip? Because
You were 30 what?
38, I think.
No, it might
That was
be a little.
yesterday.
38th, yeah, maybe 38th.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the net.
Only when somebody tells me. You know, I do know when I'm playing a certain team what quad they are, because I think that's important. You know, and I think with our remaining schedule, I think we either got, you know, quad twos or one quad one available.
Right.
So I do know that part of it, but I don't look at the net daily.
Is it important for the team not to get too far ahead of itself and start thinking we're closing in maybe on the NCAA bid or something like that, just task it in, or has this been a good team that's been able just to?
Oh, no, Chip,
Keep
we
their eye
don't,
on what's
we're only worried about what practice looks like today. I mean, we can't. You know, with this group, we just kind of, you know, we go day by day, and the big picture, obviously, I think you can achieve a lot with the big picture, which we've done so far, but we don't look ahead.
Coach, this is a bit of a pivot, but you were at the women's game last night, and afterwards, Coach Moore was talking about how you and Coach Dorn have kind of supported him through this season, and that's something you've talked about in the past with them supporting you. What's that brotherhood like between the three of you?
It's great, man. I mean, you know, those guys, if you want to use the word, I'm the freshman coming in because they've been there. Coach Moore, I don't know, was Coach Moore the senior, maybe Dave's a junior, I don't know what it is, but you know, they have done a really, really good job, you know, over the years of developing a culture in their program. And that was something that we wanted coming in. You know, we took over, it was such a challenge to get, you know, the right pieces, to get everything on the right track. And, you know, our friendship and respect for each other as coaches has really, really been special. And we are supportive. You know, in coaching, you don't have a lot of people to talk to when you're a head coach, because a lot of people don't go through some of the things you go through. And I would say those two guys, whether it's a text or conversation we've had, and you know, you got to know Wes. Wes is the best, but he thinks that is the world's falling in when he loses a game. And I told him, I said, hey, until you go through a year like I went through last year, stop complaining. What a great win. You know, he's done a great job. I'm so happy that he got the game last night. He won that game. His girls, young ladies, are really fighting really hard, and you know, he's dropped some games that, you know, Wes Moore's team would normally drop. But he also lost some really good players, and that's one of the things I've had to tell him is, hey, you know, Lisa Canane and that crew was really good, and these young ladies will get their own identity, and I think they're finding it. And so I'm happy for you know, everybody's success, and I think each one of them are very happy for the success that we're having this year.
Can you go to a game and just watch, or do you find yourself coaching a little bit as a basketball coach like that?
I don't coach where people can see me, but I do talk, and you know, I may say something to someone beside me, like, yeah, you know, but I don't
always churning.
Yeah, but I don't ever want to leave someone's game. Even though I played football, I don't want someone in the game to say, Kevin Keatts is trying to tell Dave Dorn what to do, or what's more. I only do that on game night. I got my team, they got their team. You know, I'm into the games, but I'm not coaching. No.
He mentioned you in the post-game press conference, Wes, last night. He hated he had to press.
You know what? he's changing his ways. All of a sudden, hey, what I was saying, that he's starting to press a little bit more, and he's starting to like it now.
He plays zone too, though, doesn't he?
Huh?
Doesn't he play zone sometimes?
He does not play zone.
He
So
doesn't.
he's only, his press, all I'm telling you, Chip, is that NC State women's basketball is starting to press just a little bit more, and they're starting to turn people over with the press also.
Did you find 14 zone possessions this year?
No, I did not. I have no idea where that came from. And I know there's not 14 because I'm the one that would have called the zone. So We don't have any. No, you know what? I take it back. We probably have about 7 because at the end of a couple games, you know, that we won early non-conference when we had a great lead, we dropped back into a couple zone possessions. Yeah.
I have a feeling you're not going to the outdoor game. Are you going to the hockey game at all or not?
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got a game the next day.
I got to
pretty
do
early,
the
I
next
think.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm preparing, but I'm excited. I mean, what a great thing for our community and the Canes and everything else. So I'm excited about it.
Coach, your team has raised expectations. Is that that's pretty cool, I'm sure, but does that make things a little more difficult?
No, I mean, whether the expectations were different, whether we had raised expectations to winning or not, every game is difficult. It's so hard to win, and you know, it's so rewarding. And you know, I don't take winning for granted, and we celebrate. If you see every win that we've had, all 20 wins that we've had, we've jumped up and down. We throw water because it's hard to win, and so we celebrate every win. But you know, the expectations are expectations that we put on ourselves, and so it's not from the outside. You know, our guys that meet in this room and practice on that court out there every day, we have high expectations.
The Athletic, I think, did a story this past week about coaches and how old they would like to coach to. And I'm sure you told Coach Boeheim after the game, like, yeah, I'll see you next year. But I mean, is it a little weird now, or you kind of gone through this transition where you saw some coaches who have obviously coached well into their 70s, and then do you ever think like how weird it'd be or exciting for you if you ever coached into your 70s, or do you kind of have in your mind like, okay, I'm out at a certain age, I want to enjoy life?
Yeah, well, the guys that we lost in our business, when I say lost, I shouldn't say that's not the right word. The guys who have retired and gone on to do different things, man, we lost some great coaches, and we'll continue to lose some great coaches. But at the end of the day, I just think it's a feel. You can say how long you want to do a job or how long you want to work. It comes down to your health. Comes down to you know, how well you can deal with the changes at that time of basketball, and you know, do you still have passion to do the job with great energy? And you know, everybody, you know, it comes down to you want to spend more time with your family, your grandkids, and so everybody's situation is completely different. So I don't have an age where I want to coach to. As long as I can bring great energy and passion and feel like I'm really still helping young men, then I want to coach.
You got the 83 team coming in for one of the games next week. Do you remember the 83? I mean, the games being played, and
Yeah,
were you
absolutely.
watching it all? And
Yeah.
I guess you were pretty young at the time, though.
Yeah, I remember the 83 team, and Derek Wittenberg will never let me forget about it. I'll just be around here. But no, that's a special moment, and you know, kudos to you know, our athletic director, Boo Corrigan, for making this happen, and we're glad to get as many members as we can of that 83 national championship team here on campus, and you know, they're going to get a chance to spend a little time with us, and more importantly, as our team, we're going to get a chance to spend a little time with them, and hopefully they get a chance to stop by practice. And you know, I love their story. They created something where no one thought that they were ever going to win, and it forever will be the best story in college basketball. And so I think that's so special for my current players to be a part and have a chance to meet those guys. They've met most of them, but as a group, the guys who will come back, I think that's so special for us. And what a special group of guys. And you know, I've had a chance to meet the majority of them, and you know, just to hear them talk about their experience, and there were no egos, and how guys got better, and obviously just took off. I think that's wonderful.
Where were you in '83? I mean, do you remember?
Oh man, Chip, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Okay.
I can't tell you. I don't know, man.
Because how old were you then?
I was good 83. I don't know. You put me on the spot right there. Was I in middle school?
40 years
maybe?
ago.
Maybe middle school. I don't know.
But you do remember seeing
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And then I remember when I became the head coach at Hargrave and meeting Sidney Lowe. You know, we had Lorenzo Brown and really good players come through here that went to NC State. Kenny Ings also went through there, even though he didn't play for Sidney. And then Wittenberg, at the time, Wittenberg was recruiting for Georgia Tech. Yeah, he screwed up David West, So if you just want to ever story, just let him
Ask him
know.
about that.
Yeah, ask him about that. He screwed up David West. David West wanted to come there and Wittenberg couldn't close the deal, so. But what a great group of people. Sydney's a former player, obviously, that was the coach here, and
Right.
he's been outstanding. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
since I've taken the job. And didn't have to be because of his, his time here as a coach, but greater as a player, you know.
Since people ask me all the time about eligibility, does Burns have another year that he could play here, or is he done after this year?
Burns has another year that he
How
can
about
play.
Joyner, is he done, or,
Joyner does not have any eligibility left.
and Clark,
Clark has another year.
he has one more year?
Yes.
Okay.
This is good for you.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I mean, you know,
Yeah, no,
as graduates and they've been
And
playing for a
it's
while.
funny that you asked that because most people don't know or guess and all that other stuff, but the answer to those two, they do have another year eligibility, and Jarkel doesn't. Now,
And Dusan is not. I would
we
think.
can figure out, if we could figure out how to get Jarkel Joyner another year, I would love to have that, yeah, yeah.
Probably. Dusan does not, though, right?
He does not.
He does not.
How much more difficult does it make roster management when you have like 3 or 4 guys that could come back? Or...
I think you have to, like, 2 things I've decided not to do. In the ACC, I never look ahead at the schedule because it would scare you. And you're like, oh my goodness, you never want to look at 3 or 4 games in advance because you're like, man, oh my goodness, because at that point you're saying, man, I got these guys, I got these guys, these guys. My new thing is, I never look ahead and try to figure out who's coming back. Like, you can't figure that out. You know, we have to deal with it when it happens. I would tell you that every program, including NC State, you're going to lose some really good players. But fortunate enough, you're going to be able to go out and find some good players that fit what you want to do and that want to be at NC State. And not that the guys that leave don't want to be here, but there may be a better opportunity for them. There may be some situation that they like a little bit more. And if that's the case, you want to go out and get some guys that you feel like they want to be here and obviously, be a part of this program.